After a week's hard work, a draft climate deal has taken shape in Paris, agreed upon by negotiators from the UN's 190-plus members.
And now, Mr. President, if we could present you with the draft Paris outcome.
The submission signals the technical negotiations have now officially closed. Now, over the past week, the draft has somewhat been streamlined, and now it features what we call bridging proposals. We've spoken to delegates and one of the co-chairs of the working group. They pretty much all say that today is a moment worth celebrating because now we have the basis for next week's negotiations for ministers, and this will definitely help them to navigate the complex political issues underlying the deal.
Results, I think, is this new negotiation basis which has been accepted by everyone and which contains many compromise solutions.
But I think we're in good shape. I think we have a good text, a good basis to start work, and it will be a lot of work next week, a lot of compromises to be made, but I'm very optimistic, very hopeful.
All parties have made clear their political will to facilitating a positive outcome at the Paris conference. A result such as what was reached today should be celebrated.
The climate blueprint aims to break the world's dependence on fossil fuels, reducing greenhouse gas emissions that are causing temperatures to rise. But it's far from certain yet that a December 11th deal is guaranteed. Developed countries are reluctant to scale up their finance support to developing countries after 2020, when the Paris Agreement comes into force. $100 billion was promised by rich nations in 2009, but money was never delivered. Another key issue is how to reflect common but differentiated responsibility in almost all elements of the agreement. The stakes could not be higher, and it seems that negotiators are willing to find common ground.
The ministers have met informally over the past year in many different places, hosted by Peru and hosted by France, and I think that they've explored landing zones. I think there's a fairly clear sense of where the compromises may lie.
The Paris talks began on Monday with a gathering of 150 world leaders. Ministers, according to schedule, will have until Friday to come to the final agreement.
This draft definitely represents progress, and what we need to do now is to go into depth, and we need to remember that this is not the final agreement yet.
The Paris talks are being described as the last best chance to save mankind. An agreement born out of the conference will be the second legally binding climate pact under the UN after the Kyoto Protocol, which set quantitative emission cutting targets for developed countries.